What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. How we doing today? Hope everyone had a fantastic day. It was a busy one. For those of you that don't know, the legal tampering period basically opened up today, and there was a lot of moves. Over 80 people went to new teams or either got signed by their team. Just a lot of moves. It was a very, very busy day. It sucked that I actually had to work this morning and trying to get all this news out and stuff like that. I was able to get the Kirk Cousins news out and Jonathan Grenard, which we're going to talk about today. Okay, we're going to talk about everything Vikings related, what happened, what we want to happen. There's still moves being made. It'll happen throughout the rest of the night, basically up until Wednesday, when Wednesday is the start of the new league year, where all these deals that we're hearing about today actually won't be finalized and official until Wednesday. So numbers can change and stuff like that. So take everything you hear with a grain of salt. These numbers could be wrong. We might have some plot twists like we already did today. I think Will Lutz was supposed to go to a team. He ends up actually staying on the team he is currently on. So it's gonna be a wild time, especially today. We're gonna talk about a couple different things. Shout out to everyone tuning in. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, tell everybody about the Vikings Syndicate. Let's make this bump and let's have some fun. I didn't think I was gonna go live today, but I decided that, with all these moves, we have to talk about it, right? The Kirk Cousins one's a big one, which we're gonna get to in just a little bit, and what else the Vikings are looking at and where we might go, what direction we might go in. From here, like, the running back position, the DB position. What are we going to do in the draft now that Kirk Cousins is gone? So, shout out to Demon Guy. Appreciate you for tuning in. What's up, Julian? How do you say it? Is it Barber, your last name, or Barbier, or something like that? I apologize if I said that wrong. Let's go. Demon says, I'm wondering if we should make Dobbs quarterback one temporary. So, actually, Dobbs is not on the team no more. The only quarterbacks that are under contract on the Vikings roster currently are Nick Mullins and Jaren Hall. So remember, Dobbs comes over from Arizona. It's only that 1-year deal that he signed at the beginning of the season, and now he's a free agent. There's no way he's going to be our quarterback this upcoming season. The Vikings are looking to go younger. Okay, we're looking to get somebody in here that could be the franchise guy for years to come. Right? We tried trading up in the draft last year to get Anthony Richardson. That ultimately didn't happen. At this point in time, I'm thinking that was probably a good thing that it didn't happen because Anthony Richardson got hurt 4 out of the 5 games he played, season-ending injury, gets surgery and stuff like that. So that worked out. But yeah, Dobbs will not be our quarterback one, okay? Just because he's not on our team. Hey, Demon Guy, are you in any or have any relation to, or do you know of A Rules? Are you guys like buddy or something like that? I can't remember if it was you or not, but I apologize for your comments getting deleted off of YouTube or on my videos. I have no idea why that's the case. I've never seen them. So the only time when I see your comments is when I check and it's still there. Otherwise, usually it's not there. So I apologize for that whole situation. I have no idea why YouTube is doing that, to be completely honest. Off topic, what's your thoughts on the Steelers cutting Pat P? I heard from a source called Steelers. Oh, yeah, so Steelers Nation Australia, shout out Mark. He was actually the one that got me to be the host of the Vikings Syndicate, so I really appreciate Mark and what he's done for me. It's a bummer, but at the same time, look, it was coming. Pat P is getting up there in age. Right now, I think for the Steelers, that was just a salary cap kind of move, clear some cap a little bit. To bring in new pieces, some younger pieces to help them out. Patrick Peterson's going to have some of a market. It's not going to be a massive market. You're going to see him potentially sign like a 1-year deal, really low money with somebody. It's not going to be the Minnesota Vikings. I'm sorry if you guys really want that, but that's just not going to happen for us at all. But yeah, that stinks for Pat P. He'll find a home. Otherwise, he's going to retire and he's going to go down as one of the greatest corners to ever play the game. And punt returners, because when he was in his younger days, he was pretty good at that. Let's see. That's cool. That's your son's middle name. What's up, Jonathan Scott? Appreciate you. Yes, time to move up and get a quarterback of the future. Actually, you know what? Let's get right into that right now. Okay. I'm buddies with A Rules, and soon he's going to be taking over June. Okay, perfect. Hey, I'm glad that he's coming back because I missed him the second half of the season. That sucked. He was in here all the time. He's one of my mods, so good thing to. That'll be good. Not McCarthy though. Okay, so can you explain to me why you wouldn't want McCarthy? I can understand in the first round he is climbing up some draft boards. Okay, there's some that's taking him in the top 10. There's some that's, from like number 10 to 20, somewhere around that range. Like the Broncos, I think, are really heavy on him, especially with getting rid of Russell Wilson, letting him walk. He signs with the Pittsburgh Steelers last night for the vet minimum, $1.2 million or something like that. I'd be okay with McCarthy, to be completely honest. I think we have enough weapons to make him comfortable, and I think Kevin O'Connell will be able to help him out. I mean, look what Kevin O'Connell did with Nick Mullins, right? Mullins throws for over 400 yards in a couple games. Yes, he had a buttload of picks, right? But that's because he was forcing. He was trying to make things happen. And so I think Kevin O'Connell will be okay with J.J. McCarthy. I really do. Who knows? It might work out. It might not work. I'd be okay with him. The one quarterback in this draft that has me like on the edge a little bit is Michael Penix. The only reason I say that is because of his injury history. I just, something about the way, like 4 straight injuries when I think he was with Indiana, the Hoosiers, before he went over to Washington. It just didn't look good. And then in that championship game, I mean, he looked like he was tucking his tail the whole game. He looked like a dog with his tail tucked the entire game. When the pressure got to him, he didn't look that good at all. Like, at all. So, let's get right into that Kirk Cousins news real quick before we get to the other stuff. Got to pull up my thing real quick. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, yes, Kirk Cousins will not be returning to the Minnesota Vikings. I said that for the past 2 weeks. I said, look, if we get to March 13th or get to the tampering period and Kirk Cousins decides to take a step into free agency, there's no way he's coming back, because that means the offer that the Vikings gave him didn't really align with what Kirk Cousins was wanting, right? So that means he's going to go find something else, and there's going to be teams out there willing to pay that, aka the Atlanta Falcons. So we have this first piece of information breaking. Free agent quarterback Kirk Cousins has agreed to terms on a deal with the Atlanta Falcons. Per his agent at Mike McCartney, we all seen this coming. It was a loud, very, very loud move the entire, the last, 2, maybe at least the last month, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a big move, right? Because this also tells us that we're looking towards the future. We have to find our quarterback now. At first, before this move was made, I'm like, if we lose Kirk Cousins, I'll be fine. And then it happened. And I'm like, oh boy, we have to find a guy now. Like, we have to go out in free agency or the draft and find a guy and hope they pan out. Remember the last time we had to draft a quarterback? I'm pretty sure all you guys do and want to forget that memory. It was Christian Ponder. Now, I'm not saying like a drafted quarterback that was like in the high rounds, like the first round overall. It was Christian Ponder. What happened? He was garbage. We do not need that in our organization at all. Just because I didn't trust him. Nobody trusted him. But it's now time to look forward. It's going to suck because we have no idea what the future holds now. We have absolutely zero clue. Because we can go into the draft. We can trade for Justin Fields, which is an interesting little thing here. But do we make that move? I'm not 100% certain that we do. So when Kirk Cousins was released, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah basically released a statement on Kirk Cousins. He said, after significant and positive dialogue with Kirk and his representatives, we were unable to reach agreement on a contract that fits the short and long-term visions for both Kirk and the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk holds a special place in Vikings history, and we appreciate his leadership and contributions to the team and the Minneapolis-St. Paul community over the past 6 seasons. We wish him, his wife Julie, and their children all the best. Our approach heading into free agency always included layers of contingencies regarding the quarterback position. We are moving forward with plans that allow us to continue building a roster that can compete for a championship. So that is what Kwesi Adofo-Mensah basically said. I think that was good to say. Obviously, I think they had good dialogue over the past few days. They met last night, and that's when Kirk Cousins ultimately decided, I'm going to test out free agency, see what I can get on the open market. So what exactly did Kirk Cousins end up signing? And I'll give you my 2 reasons of why he signed this deal as opposed to staying with the Minnesota Vikings. It says the Falcons are signing Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, $180 million contract that includes $50 million in signing bonuses per sources. Another monster payday for Cousins, who gets $100 million guaranteed, $90 million in 2024 and 2025. Okay, plus another $10 million in 2026 and a fresh start in Atlanta at the age of 35. So that $90 million in 2024 and 2025 is a combined total for the two. So he basically gets $45 million these next 2 years guaranteed to him, and then he gets $10 million guaranteed in 2026. And that was basically put in place because of his age, right? He's getting up there in age. He's getting older, coming off an Achilles injury. What other injuries might possibly happen with him? Now, this contract tells me two things. Okay, that are two things that for a reason why the Minnesota Vikings didn't re-sign Kirk Cousins. Okay, the first one, how long the contract was. Minnesota, I honestly do believe, was probably only going to offer Kirk Cousins, or was only offering him, I would assume, a 2-year deal, right? Or probably even a 1-year deal, something where Kirk Cousins wasn't going to have the longevity here in Minnesota to really finish out his career. And I think that's something Kirk Cousins really wanted to do. He wanted to make sure that he had, how do you want to say, his future plans basically laid out for him, if that makes any sense. I'm trying to figure out how to word it, and I really can't at this point in time. But he wanted to make sure that he had longevity. Okay, he wanted to know where he was going to be to end his career. Minnesota, I don't think, was offering that. We've been very adamant at trying to go younger at the position, like Dan Orlovsky said this morning on Pat McAfee show. It's like, look, the Vikings went and tried trading up to get Anthony Richardson in last year's draft. So we're trying to get younger at that position. And with Kirk Cousins, yes, coming off could have been one of his best statistical years ever. It would have been nice to keep him, but at the same time, it's like, look, this whole fan base, this franchise has been just itching to find a guy that's going to be here for the long haul, like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Joe Burrow, a Josh Allen, one of those staples in the organization. What's up, Goat? Appreciate you. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind on the comments. I got to start focusing and start reading these guys out a little bit. Let's see. You said no to... You said no to Justin Fields, and that's because you're a Buckeye fan. So I want to know exactly why you say no. Not exactly why, but why do you think Justin Fields wouldn't be good here? See, for me, it's almost like I would like Justin Fields, even though he does have some growing to do. He has some maturing to do on the football field, not mentally and stuff like that. Just physically, what he can do on the football field, he has to get a little bit more consistent. The Bears situation in which he was in just didn't fit his play style, I feel like. And I think Kevin O'Connell, being a quarterback guru himself, playing quarterback in the NFL at one point in time, quarterbacks coach and yada, 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 I think he would be okay with Justin Fields. The only thing about Justin Fields that kind of rubs me the wrong way is what we would have to do to re-sign or to sign him or to trade for him. We'd have to give up quite a bit. And then in return, eventually we're going to have to extend him, give him a massive contract. And it's like, we have to pay JJ. Why don't we just get a young rookie quarterback who's cheap, who can potentially or has the possibility to do what CJ Stroud did this last year? But I wouldn't mind Justin Fields. It'd be tough, though. I would have to know exactly the exact things that we're going to do or what we'd have to trade for him. There was another one that you said. Let's see. Boy, you guys are way up there. Let's go. Stoked about today. Okay. Yeah, I would love if we got Jaden Daniels too. I think Jaden Daniels would be perfect in Minnesota. Not just because he's an LSU quarterback and he won the Heisman and stuff like that. I just feel he's so dynamic. Like the quarterback position, as much as it's still a pocket passer position, I feel like it's moving towards more of a mobile quarterback, like, Lamar Jackson, right? Somebody who can get outside the pocket, make plays downfield, make plays with his legs, and really just open up the entire offense where you're going to have the defense wondering, or at least have a spy on the quarterback the entire game. Like, is this guy going to roll out and bust one for 15 to 20 yards? We have to make sure that doesn't happen. And I think Jaden Daniels can sling the rock really well. The only problem with it is that we're going to have to trade up, okay? And most likely having to trade up, we're going to have to get rid of quite a bit of Okay, I'll just making sure none of these. We'd have to give up quite a bit of capital to get Jaden Daniels, and what that entails, I'm not sure. Maybe a future first round pick or something like that, because he's going to be highly sought after. Those first 3 picks, boy, New England getting rid of Mac Jones. They only have Bailey Zappi there. You're going to expect them to take a quarterback in this year's draft. They haven't looked at free agency to get one, so they're probably going to stay at that number 3 spot unless they feel like they can trade back a little bit and then take their guy there. So that could be a tough one. Again, Drake May, we already know Caleb Williams, most likely 100% positive he's going number 1 overall. So Penix wouldn't be bad, like I mentioned earlier, with his injury history, how he crumbles under pressure. It didn't appeal to me at all. Like, yeah, he might have balled out the entire season, but when Michigan was able to put pressure on Penix, boy, it was dirty. I mean, it didn't look good at all. McCarthy isn't bad under pressure. I'd have to watch more film on him, which I'm going to do here over the next couple days, because now we have to find a quarterback, right? Let's see. McCarthy wasn't a leader of his offense. People say their running backs were really good. McCarthy was carried to the championship. He didn't lead them there. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, maybe he did, though, right? Because we weren't in that locker room, and we'd have to hear from the players what McCarthy is as a teammate. And I think John Harbaugh, one of the Harbaugh brothers. I can't remember. Their names are too similar. Okay, J and J is just whatever. But he was the head coach of Michigan. I think it was John. It was Jim. Whatever. You guys can correct me. We'd have to hear from them. I think they talk glowingly of him. He's a lot bigger than I thought, because when they were doing the scouting combine, he sat down with the 33rd team. It was one guy and our old GM, Rick Spielman, and they were talking. The first thing that popped up to me was like, whoa, J.J. McCarthy looks a lot bigger than what I thought he actually was. Because when we're seeing him on the field, he looks small. He doesn't look that big, but he's a tall guy. He's got some thickness to him. So I wouldn't be bad. Here's a question. Remember when Jefferson said if Kirk leaves, he might? What then? He ain't leaving. I promise. I will be so upset if JJ leaves. You have no idea. Like, dude, I can't even imagine. Like, I don't even want to think about the possibility of this man leaving. Because we did it to this man. And it made no sense. Like, I want to avoid that, because you cannot trade away or get rid of or find or, like, lose the centerpiece of your offense, the face of the franchise. You just can't do that. You have to find a way to sign that guy. So I think Jefferson will be fine with whoever we get, as long as he knows the plan going forward. But if he does leave, oh boy, we are in trouble. That is all I have to say about that. Zach Wilson, if he is on our radar, by God, I don't know how much longer I'd be able to cheer for this. Like, I love this team. I'm a fan of the team. I have been since birth, okay? But Zach Wilson, you have got to be kidding me. Not a chance. I don't want him anywhere near this. I don't want us sniffing around Zach Wilson. I don't care how cheap he is. I don't care. I don't want to hear Zach Wilson is a possibility to come to Minnesota, because that right there, if we sign Zach Wilson, that tells me our ownership, our GM, doesn't believe in winning. We don't want to win if we make that signing. Zach Wilson, I'm sorry, he's a lost cause. I cannot stress enough how bad of a quarterback, an NFL quarterback, Zach Wilson is. We've seen what he can do. The only thing we've seen that he can do good is make a cross-body throw 60 yards down the field with no pressure in his face, no pads on him, at a pro day. That's all we know he can do good. He can't do anything else good. He's not. He's not the next guy. I don't want Sam Darnold. I mean, Sam Darnold would be a good backup. Zach Wilson would be a good fifth-string quarterback. I mean, that would be horrible. Absolutely horrible. That would grind my gears. I don't know how much further I could watch if we signed Zach Wilson and said he's our quarterback. What are we doing? There's no way. No way If I see that today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, I'm going to lose my mind. Absolutely lose my mind and rip this organization apart. Because no. I don't want Zach Wilson, and I'm sure every single one of you guys don't want to do anything or don't want nothing to do with Zach Wilson. Okay? Because he is the next quarterback in the UFL. That is where he needs to go. That is where he belongs. Because he ain't good enough to play in the NFL. Absolutely not. And I wish him the best, but now it's time to support whoever the new quarterback is. Absolutely. What's up, Benji? Appreciate you. Okay, yeah, running backs. What's up, Jacob? Okay, yeah, so Fields doesn't fit the KO system. I don't think we'll know that unless it happens. The Fields situation is so interesting because he could be a good quarterback. I think he showed spurts, especially in the second half of the season, but it would take a lot to get him. It honestly would. Oh boy, we have some breaking news. It's not for the Vikings, but it is what Benji did bring up. Said Austin Eckler would be available. He is not no more. The Commanders are signing former Chargers running back Austin Eckler to a 2-year deal. He is officially off the board, which is all right. That means, hey, the Vikings could be in play for Derrick Henry. The Vikings really could be in play for Derrick Henry. What do you guys think? How would you guys feel about Derrick Henry on this offense? I know he's not doing that great, but he quietly had 1,000 yards last season. He's a great red zone threat, which is one thing we struggled with last year. So if we can find a running back that's willing to put the ball in the end zone like Derrick Henry would be, I'm all for it. I really am. Let Derrick Henry be the bell, or not really be. Let Ty Chandler be the bell cow, and then put Derrick Henry in there when we need to get a first down, when we need to get a touchdown, something like that. I'd be okay with. I'd be okay with getting Derrick Henry. I wouldn't necessarily he'd be Cook 2.0. I just really think. I just want touchdowns out of the running back position because last year was terrible. Okay, yeah, you're not wrong there, Jonathan. Yeah, you're not wrong. He might go to, but we could be a contender. We could be, right? I think what we did defensively this today was great. Helped out in a lot of different positions. Man, there's a lot of teams. New England's off the market. Philly's off the market because they signed Saquon. The reason I say New England is I think they signed Antonio Gibson, which, okay. What are we doing there? New England never signs running backs, so should have known that. We were in on the Tony Pollard sweepstakes, which would have been pretty decent. I think that would have been a great signing for us. But he ends up going to the Tennessee Titans, leaving Dallas. So, yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles did get Saquon Barkley. Yep. Cowboys got Pollard. Interesting. Green Bay got better at the running back position, in my opinion. Great. Green Bay goes out today. They sign Josh Jacobs, and A.J. Dillon was hitting the free agent market. And after that, they tried to restructure Aaron Jones' deal. However, they released Aaron Jones. How would you guys feel if we found a way to bring Aaron Jones to the Minnesota Vikings? I would love it. I would absolutely. Yeah, DeAndre Swift to the Chicago Bears. Seen that today. I want Aaron Jones. I want him. What's up, Matty Man? Appreciate you for tuning in. Shout out. Yeah, see, same. Jones is gone. So they tried restructuring his deal when they signed Josh Jacobs today. Just because I right when that deal was done, I'm like, okay, Aaron Jones probably going to get released. And then it was coming out, hey, we're trying to restructure his deal. They couldn't come out to an agreement. They ultimately end up releasing Aaron Jones. So he's out of Green Bay, man. Come to Minnesota. I honestly think that'd be a great fit. I really do. I know he loved Green Bay, but man, his pregame fits. Josh Jacobs, he played for the Raiders. Got screwed over by their head coach, Josh McDaniels, a couple times. Okay, very good running back. That was a great signing for Green Bay. Yeah, let's just hope, if it is revenge like Zadarius Smith did, let's hope he just doesn't leave in 1 year, like Zadarius did. But I would love Aaron Jones. If Ezekiel Elliott, I think, is still on the table. I'm not sold on him. I don't want Ezekiel Elliott. I don't think he is a bell cow back. I don't think he would be any upgrade from Alexander Mattison. But yeah, Aaron Jones, he's an intriguing target. Otherwise, we go draft one. Blake Corum's still out there in the draft. Jonathan Brooks, Braylon Allen from Wisconsin still out there. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Zeke is dust now. I really wouldn't want him on this organization. I just don't think he's that great. Let's see. Adam Schefter just reported. Oh, okay. I was seeing if he was... Yeah, so all the running backs that got signed today. Saquon to the Eagles, Josh Jacobs to the Packers, Austin Eckler to the Commanders, Tony Pollard to the Titans, DeAndre Swift to the Bears, Devin Singletary goes to the Giants, Gus Edwards, goes to the Chargers, which that kind of tells me that maybe they won't draft Blake Corum. They're getting paid okay. I think they're getting paid exactly what they should be, right? Low salaries. It's intriguing enough to continue to sign those deals, but it's not too big. It's not too small. You're getting about 12 to 14 million out of that running back position right now per year, if I do say, or if I'm correct. And then Antonio Gibson to the Patriots. But what do you guys want? What do you guys want at the running back position? We talked Derrick Henry. I'd be okay with Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, or just strictly going to the draft, right? Yeah, those were good moves, Demon. Nick Muse and Johnny Munt, re-signing them, needed that depth at tight end. Plus, I believe both of those guys are special teamers. I know Nick Muse is a special team guy. Johnny Munt is a third-string tight end who has to see some time when players need breaks or if there's an injury that occurs. 1 year, $8 million. Okay, hold on. Let's go see. I want to see Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones age. So Aaron Jones is 29. Last year he only had 656 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, but you have to take in mind he did miss a majority of time because of the pulled hamstring. So 1 year, $8 million. I don't think he'd sign that because he is getting up there in age, so he's going to want his money. I could see something over 10 mil, to be honest. Yeah, I agree with you there, Demon. I absolutely agree with you on that. That'd be good. Aaron Jones wouldn't be a bad addition, neither would Derrick Henry. But yeah, draft, I think, is where we're going to have to go and hit the running back market. Yeah. If we do go running back in the free agency market, though, we're rolling with Ty Chandler and whoever we have at free agency. We won't even focus on running back at all. Wish we would have got Tony Pollard. That would have been great. Wish we really would have pursued that. So we already know the Kirk Cousins situation. We were waiting for that basically this past month. What's going to happen? We were hitting that, nail on the head basically. Is he going to stay? If not, who's the options? We were thinking Russell Wilson because he'd be cheap. That didn't happen. He goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're looking at all these rookies, yada, yada, yada. So now we have to find the franchise quarterback of the future. Probably going to be in the draft coming. What's up, Solly the Viking? So, yes, you're right on board with what we were saying, but Austin Eckler did get signed by the Commanders just literally a couple minutes ago. Just 29 is old at the running back position. Because running backs nowadays, you can find dime a dozen, right? They get their rookie contract, and they typically get one more big contract after their rookie deal, and then that's it. Just because, like I said, they're a dime a dozen. You could find them literally literally anywhere. But we talked about that, the offense, what kind of moves were made. Another offensive move that was made today to shore up some depth piece or some depth at the offensive line. Per Alec Lewis, the Vikings have re-signed offensive linemen David Quessenberry and Blake Brandel. No word yet on left guard Dalton Reisner, who is expected to explore the market. So we did re-sign some depth pieces in David and Blake Brandel, which is good. They had to play a couple times this season for an injured Garrett Bradbury, Brian O'Neill. Ed Ingram. Dalton Reisner, though, is one guy I would love to bring back. I really want to bring him back to the Minnesota Vikings because I felt like he did a fantastic job. He's very, he's very disciplined. There it is. He's very disciplined, okay? Little to no penalties. He's going to pass protect really, really well. His run blocking, I think, needs a little bit of help. He's not that great against the stunts. But that's one guy I wish we could find a way to get back. He could, but I honestly wouldn't even attempt it. That's why Austin Schlottman, or Schlotman, however you say his last name, took over the center when Reisner was still playing guard and when Garrett Bradbury went down. But Reisner is somebody we need to find a way to bring back, and I'm sure those moves will still come in at some point. At some point. So that was another offensive move that we did make. Let's see, we got the Kirk Cousins new out of the way. The rest was pretty much defense. The first move of the day for the Minnesota Vikings, we talked about it. When I seen this move, I was like, oh, okay, there's the replacement coming from Ian Rappaport. The Minnesota Vikings are signing edge rusher, pass rusher Jonathan Grenard from the Houston Texans. This is a big-time move. It was a 4-year deal, $76 million for Jonathan Grenard, so not too shabby. I think it was that's a $19 million deal, I think, per year, which is really good for us, and that also means the end of Danielle Hunter and the Minnesota Vikings, which is a bummer. It sucks to see him go because Danielle Hunter had 16.5 sacks last season. He was completely healthy, and when he is healthy, he was an absolute freak of nature. I really wanted the Vikings to find a way to bring Danielle Hunter back to the organization, and I thought it was going to wait, right? I said it a couple times. I'm like, hey, if what was it? I said, if we don't re-sign Kirk Cousins, we should have enough money to both extend Justin Jefferson and re-sign Danielle Hunter to some big contracts, okay? And then you go in the draft, then you shore up everything else, right? But that wasn't part of the plan because you have to think of all the other positions out there. So this is a really good replacement for Danielle Hunter. I didn't really know too much about Jonathan Grenard. I knew he was a force to be reckoned with that Texans defense. But just looking at his stats, he actually produced really, really well last season, right? He had, 52 total tackles, 12.5 sacks. He had a forced fumble, which I believe was against the Miami Dolphins. I think. I can't remember off the top of my head. And he better not be no Davenport 2.0. By the way, Davenport is headed to the Detroit Lions. So they can have that bum and keep him as far away from the Minnesota Vikings as possible. Dude has no ankles, never wanted to play in Minnesota. I don't know why he signed here in the first place. But bringing in Jonathan Grenard, you can basically put an end to the Danielle Hunter sweepstakes. He will not return to the Minnesota Vikings, which is a massive, massive bummer. But again, I think Grenard's a good replacement. I really do. Yeah. That's what I basically told him right when I seen the move, and he's not happy about it either. He is not happy about it at all. Because when I told him, he was pretty upset. Because I think he really wants Danielle Hunter. I think he wants better pass rushers to pair with Aiden Hutchinson, and Marcus Davenport, plain and simple, ain't the guy. Like, it's not bad. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hope he stays healthy. I hope everyone stays healthy, but boy, that's a rough one. So that was the first move of the day, was Jonathan Grenard, edge rusher. We now know that DJ Wanham and Grenard are going to be our, coming off the edge for both of us. For real. We'll see about it. But then the second move, we already talked about it a little bit, was the Kirk Cousins deal. to Atlanta. That one really hit home. That sucks. Even though it was for the best, we couldn't afford to pay him the money he wanted. He wanted the longevity on his deal. We weren't going to offer him the longevity. We probably didn't offer him a big contract either. The the $100 million guarantee. There's no way I think Minnesota was going to do that, just solely off the fact that, hey, we have to find a way to extend Jefferson and make this team a little bit better defensively. So that was not the only move that we made defensively. There was a couple other big time moves that I really liked. I thought it was much needed. There's really not much talent at this position in the draft. That's linebacker. Yeah, no, the Falcons did get fleeced a little bit there. 184 years, boy. But hey, they were going to have to overpay either way. They were either going to have to overpay to get Kirk Cousins, overpay to get Justin Fields, or overpay to trade up in the draft to take their guy that they wanted, right? So they had to make their decision. This was just a smart one for them because he's a veteran, he's been in the league, and he makes them a little bit better, right? So, but the linebacker position, right, going back to defense, is a position that we've struggled with since Eric Kendricks and Anthony Barr on the team, and even then we really didn't have too much firepower there. In the last 2 seasons, it was very apparent that we needed to fix it, right? We go in the draft, get some undrafted free agents. Ivan Pace Jr., who's an absolute dog, is going to be good for us. Jordan Hicks is still on our linebacker crew, but we needed to add some more. We needed to add some more depth, and we did just that. Actually signing a guy that the Lions Syndicate, shout out Derek over there, he wanted this guy super, super bad, and I hate to burst his bubble, but the Minnesota Vikings, per Adam Schefter, former Dolphins linebacker Andrew Van Ginkel agreed to terms on a 2-year deal with the Minnesota Vikings for $20 million, including $14 million guaranteed. The deal was confirmed by his agents, Drew Rosenhaus and Ryan Matha. This was awesome. When I seen this, I was like, okay, I really like this move. Coming to Minnesota, we need help at the linebacker position. And I think he had a pretty solid season, if I do remember correctly. He was always around the ball, had 69 combined tackles. Look, this dude is a tackling machine. 2 years ago in 2021 had 71. Last year he had 2 years ago he had 47. Last year 69. Last year he also had 6 sacks and an interception. So, I mean, we're going to get some good, how do you want to say it? Some good production out of him. I like this signing a lot. This helps that linebacker position out just a little bit more. We don't have to focus on it during the draft this season. So it'll be good to do to kind of put that on the back burner for a little bit. Also, that wasn't the only move that we made at the linebacker position. No. We actually brought home a Minnesota native, which I'm okay with as well. I think, again, we needed the depth. We needed to add some more pieces, needed to add some more firepower to that linebacker position. Per Tom Pelissero, we have a homecoming. The Vikings are signing Minnesota native and linebacker Blake Cashman to a 3-year deal worth up to $25.5 million. His agent, Blake Barretts of Team IFA, tells him and a rap sheet, big deal for Blake Cashman, who grew up in Eden Prairie and played for the Minnesota Golden Gophers and is now a Minnesota Viking. Now, I heard, you've never heard about this guy, Demon? Never? I did. The only reason I heard about him is because when I first started really covering the NFL and really started diving into who these college athletes were when they're going to the draft, I seen this guy at the scouting combine, and I'm like, oh, he's from Minnesota, played with the Gophers. Okay, pretty solid. Coming to Minnesota. That's what I wanted. Ends up, I think, getting drafted, I want to say, by the New York Jets. Bounced around a couple different places. Last year he was on the Houston Texans, and now he finds his way to Minnesota. Ski-U-Ma, absolutely. So, let's go see Blake Cashman's stats. I don't think they're, like, insanely good. If I could spell, it'd be fantastic. Blake Cashman stats. Okay. Here we go. Let's look. Not bad. Hey, I like it. 106 total tackles last year. This dude flies around, okay? He's going to make plays. He's going to find a way to bring the runner down. Whoever has the ball, he's going to do that. 2 sacks last year, 1 fumble recovery, had an interception. This dude, Hey, he plays. He has a high motor, okay? And I think coming back to Minnesota, he might play a little bit better, right? Hometown, going to put show out for his city. Good signing. Again, these linebacker signings were basically just shoring up the depth there, adding some more firepower, helping us out just a little bit on the back end with that secondary, who we're still going to have to address. We have to address the secondary, right? What are we going to do with Harrison Smith? That's going to be a big one. Before we talk about Harrison Smith and all that stuff, that was basically all the moves, right? Defensively, Jonathan Gennard, 4 years, $76 million. How you doing? Keep it moving. He is on the team on the edge rusher. Linebackers, Andrew Van Ginkel, okay, $20 million deal, 2 years, 14 guaranteed, and then Blake Cashman at linebackers will as well, 3 years, $25.5 million. That was pretty good. Quarterback, we lose Kirk Cousins. Darn, that really, sucks, but at the same time, hey, now we get to look towards the future. We get to see what this team can be capable of, and it's a breath of fresh air almost. Like, it's kind of scary going into the unknown, but sometimes the unknown is worth being scared about, right? Like the Chiefs were with Patrick Mahomes. So if we can find our guy, if we can find a way to trade up and pick our guy, or even stay at 11, get our guy, boy, I really do think things could be on the up and up. But if we draft a guy and he's a bust, we are in trouble. We are in a lot of trouble if that happens. Just, dear God, please, Heavenly Father, do not allow the Vikings to sign Zach Wilson. Please. But anyways, let's shift gears. What's going to happen with the other positions? Right? There's a lot of safeties on the open market. A lot of them. Jordan Poyer, Quandre Diggs, Jamal Adams. I mean, the list goes on and on and on if you look at it. And what's going to happen with Harrison Smith? Because we all know he's expensive. I think he's like $19 million cap hit or something like that. Very, very expensive. And the latest I heard on him was that we were trying to restructure a deal. He wants to stay in Minnesota, wants to finish his career here, which I would love. Just because he still is the hitman. He still brings that veteran presence to the locker room and on the field. He's somebody that we really need to keep on the defensive end in that secondary because, look, Josh Metellus is good. I don't think he's better than Harrison Smith, at least just yet. Cam Bynum is a freak of nature. We should be fine there. If we restructure Harrison Smith's contract, we won't even have to worry about safety via the draft or free agency. And I like Jonathan Scott says there, yeah, I think Harry will stay as well. I really do. I think he wants to. I appreciate you, Demon, for tuning in. Thank you. Make sure to subscribe if I think you already are. Drop a like on your way out. And, hey, spread the news. Tell people to get on the Vikings Syndicate. All right? Absolutely. Have a good one, man. But, yeah, there's that. The one big thing that we're going to have to worry about is the running back position. That's the next move to be. Hey, appreciate it. Have a good one. But that's going to be the area of focus moving forward. That's probably going to be the next move from the Minnesota Vikings is that running back position. There's a couple out there. We talked about it. Derrick Henry would be a good fit in Minnesota. Aaron Jones is definitely on the top of my list to come to Minnesota now that he was released by the Green Bay Packers, as long as he can stay healthy. And it would be great to see him, have some revenge games against the Green Bay Packers. Let's see, what else? Wide receiver, let's lock up Justin Jefferson, okay? Pay him $35, $40 million a year. I don't care. Find a way to keep this man on the roster. He better not walk away. And the Vikings better have a place to trade up in this year's draft because we need some help at quarterback. There's not many left. Okay, Russell Wilson, gone. Gardner Minshew, signed with the Raiders today. 2-year deal. I think it was like $25 million. He got paid by the Las Vegas Raiders. Good for him. Sam Darnold's still out in the market. Not even going to mention Mr. BYU because that better not happen. I'm so against that move happening. Justin Fields, and we could trade for him, but we might have to give up an arm and a leg. And then if we do trade for him, we'll have to sign him to an extension. Let's see. Who else? Trey Lance. We could trade for Trey Lance. I know a lot of people don't like that move just because he really hasn't shown much, but I don't think he's really had much of a chance or an opportunity because, Brock Purdy basically stole the thunder over there He might not be the greatest thing in the world, but I think if we gave him, a little bit of a shot, some competition, he might be a decent backup. Yeah, I don't see Justin Fields costing any more than a second-round pick because of the fact that if you do trade for him, you're going to have to re-sign him to a big deal. Like that's just what's going to have to happen, right? So there's so many options that we could do, and I'm going to be very curious and intrigued by what the Vikings are planning on doing. And I hope we know the plan in the coming days. If there's a trade, up in the draft or something like that, I'm not sure how soon it will be. Could be draft night, could be a couple days from now, could be a week or two from now. Like it's going to be interesting to see what Minnesota does. But I think knowing that Kirk Cousins is gone, we now have at least somewhat of an idea what the Vikings are going to do at that quarterback position. But yeah, hey, re-sign Dalton Risner. Find a way to bring the left guard back. Extend Justin Jefferson. Restructure Harrison Smith's contract. Have a plan in place to get your new quarterback, whether that's via free agency or trade or in the draft. We just have to figure that out. Running back wise, Derrick Henry. Okay, need those touchdowns. Okay, need that red zone threat, right? Aaron Jones, okay, need that. Or in the draft. There's a couple of there. Not many running backs in this year's draft, but there's a couple dows, if you will, like Blake Corum, Jonathan Brooks, Braylon Allen. I mean, there's some firepower there that we can go look at. Otherwise, you just focus defensively in the draft. And I know a lot of people have us linked to, a D tackle. We have to take a D tackle this year. We were in play for Christian Wilkins, just because of the Brian Flores connection. It was us and one other team. I think it was the Raiders was the other team. Ultimately, in the end, the Raiders end up getting Christian Wilkins, pairing him alongside Max Crosby. So that was quite a bummer. I was not too happy about that one, just because I felt like he could have really brought a massive presence to our defensive line. But I think we still have Harrison Phillips, so that's okay. But Christian Wilkins would have been real nice. Would have been real nice to have. So let's see. Byron Murphy II out of Texas, defensive tackle. That would be a great addition to our Minnesota Vikings defensive line. But again, it's so tough because he's a first-round talent. Byron Murphy II is a first-round talent, right? But now the Vikings have to figure out their quarterback position. And the only logical way to go about that is trade up and get your guy, or set at 11 and get your guy, or wait till round 2 and maybe take Michael Penix or Bo Nix. And I don't want Bo Nix. Jared Verse would be really nice, but the only reason I didn't bring his name up was because we just signed Jonathan Grenard to that massive contract. So, yeah, one sec. I'll get to that here in just a moment, Jacob. Wow, Azeez Al-Shir is expected to sign with the Texans. Boy, that's a massive signing. They lose Jonathan Grenard, bring in Azeez Al-Shir, and good for them. But yeah, Jared Verse. We just signed Jonathan Grenard. We have DJ Wanham, who I think is a really good talent. I think he's proved more times than not that he's capable of being a starting edge rusher in this league and for the Minnesota Vikings. So we got some things to move. Jacob, thoughts on Steelers getting Russell Wilson? Smart. I like it, man. Any team, whoever would have got Russell Wilson would have been a very smart move. Because, look, the Broncos aren't hooked for $38 million because you signed him to a $1.2 million. It was very, very apparent that Kenny Pickett just is not the greatest, right? He's a bust. He's not good. And that's worrisome. Sometimes it's hard to eat your own words and own up to it as a GM. But look, he isn't the guy. And this gives Russell Wilson and the Steelers, this actually gives the Steelers a chance to build the roster, build the team offensively and defensively around Russell Wilson. And that's what they're going to be, trying to look towards to do. They're going to have to get Deontay Johnson more involved. They're going to have to get George Pickens more involved. And I think Russell Wilson's going to be capable of doing that because he's going to roll outside the pocket, play action, right? Run the rock. He's going to be able to move the ball down the field. And some people might say, hey, you can't throw in the middle of the field, blah, blah, blah. I think it's okay. With the receivers that Pittsburgh has, the take the top off defense type receivers and Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, it's going to look a lot like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett back in the day. I at least I'd hope so, because we see what happened in Denver, but at the same time, he wasn't really given a good scenario with Nathaniel Hackett. Like, that guy didn't know anything. Okay, he was just I have a little scenario in my head what I was going to say, but I can't say it, can't swear on this channel. So he doesn't know his butt from a hole in the ground. Okay, we'll put it that way. But then he was given Sean Payton, and him and Sean Payton butted heads immediately. And so, but I think this is a very smart move. He's going to be your starting quarterback. There's no way he would have signed if it wasn't going to be that way. And now you guys actually have some hope. You went from not competing in your division to competing for the division title. You're going to go to the playoffs. I think the Steelers are more than capable of doing that, right? Getting rid of those old guys. Pat P's gone. Bolstering that defense just a little bit, maybe through the draft. And offensively, I think you guys are fine. Maybe running back you could focus on. But Najee Harris, he's so hit or miss. So hit or miss. But when he gets going, he's really good. And then you have Jaylen Warren, who I think should be the starting running back going forward. But I like that pairing. Russell Wilson with Pittsburgh. I would have been okay with him coming here because of the $1.2 million contract. Would have been fantastic for us to potentially, build, the rest of the team, which we basically did the entire day today. So, good move. I like it. I like it, Jacob. I hope you're feeling the same. What are your thoughts? I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know. Do you like Russell to your Pittsburgh Steelers? I think it was a smart move. Let's see. Is there any more moves? Jordan Brooks signs with the Miami Dolphins on a 3-year, $30 million deal. Nope, nothing yet. Not too much happening. Let's see. Probably typing it out. That's okay. But yeah, no, I think Russell to Pittsburgh is a good move. They got that out of the way. But Kirk leaving, man, I'm excited for the future. I really am. I do believe it's going to be fun to kind of witness a transition into a new era. The Kirk Cousins era is over and done with, right? We don't have to worry about him blowing primetime games anymore, trying to win the big games and clutch moments, because he didn't do that very often, if at all. But I think going forward, sign Aaron Jones. Figure it out. Or Derrick Henry. Figure it out. Okay? And maybe if there's any DBs on the market, Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard, let's see. I can't remember if he signed anywhere. Okay, so Xavier Howard's a free agent, but he's 30 years old, but I think that'd be a great addition to Minnesota. I really do. We're really young at corner. We need some help in the secondary. Xavier Howard that'd be a nice signing. But there's teams are staying away from him, so there could be a reason, which doesn't sit well with me. Or Kendall Fuller. Stay away from Gilmore. But yeah, we need running backs. We need to figure out what we're going to do at the quarterback position. Need to extend Justin Jefferson, but I think the Justin Jefferson deal will not happen until the rest of the receivers are extended or signed, because he's going to want to be the highest paid receiver in the National Football League, which means he's going to have to wait for those to play out, because if he signs and then Jamar Chase signs right after him or something like that, he's going to be like, whoa, like I was supposed to be, but that's the name of the game. That's a business game. So I think he's going to wait a little bit, probably till the draft, maybe after the draft. But yeah, hey, new era here in Minnesota. No Kirk Cousins, no Danielle Hunter. Things are changing. It's an interesting world we're living in. But news is going to continue to pile in throughout the rest of the night. For sure tomorrow. It'll probably slow down a lot tomorrow, just because I think there's been probably close to 100 signings today. When we started the stream, there was at least over 80 players had signed. So, and I think there was a bunch more that happened while we were live. So, a lot of players getting signed, new faces and new places, and that's what we like to see. Busy day. So, if there's anything you guys want to talk about or want me to cover or anything like that, just don't be afraid to go on to one of my videos. Leave a comment. If I see it, I can look into it and kind of talk about it. But now I'm gonna start diving into the rookie quarterbacks going into the NFL draft. J.J. McCarthy, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix. Trying to see who would be the best fit for the Minnesota Vikings. I'm hoping it's Jaden Daniels, but the world may never know. So shout out to all you guys for tuning in today. I know it was a lot. It was kind of all over the place, but I felt like we had to go live and just talk about it, get you guys' 2 cents and stuff, and keep you guys informed rather than just releasing video after video after video. So if a lot more moves are made tomorrow, we might end up going live again as well. That is to be determined. We'll see what happens in the meantime. So shout out to everyone that tuned in. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, let people know about the Vikings Syndicate. Send them over here for all their Vikings information, updates. We're a fan-run channel, fan-run organization with a syndicate, so we like to keep things fan-based, right? Give our opinion. This is not, all of it's facts. We're not going to, give you the chat sports route and just be like, I'm not a fan of the team, but this is what we did, blah, blah, blah. You get it, right? So shout out to everyone that tuned in. Appreciate you guys. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are on this whole situation. We'll see you guys whenever we're live again. Until then, have a great rest of your night, great rest of your week, great rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there, stay happy, and hey, have one hell of a time, okay? Have one hell of a time. We'll see you guys later, and you, well, Skol Vikes.